All right, so today we're going to talk about finding potential business partners. The series we're doing is on building out a business from scratch, building out a realtor-based, referral-based business, and this is the system that I've used that I taught to a couple of people, to Rachel and to Kelly. Talked to a few people who have really had some success with it, and it's kind of take you through the nuts and bolts, give you some of the scripting. You've got the handouts for some of the other materials that as we talk it through, but just wanted to kind of go through it in detail and give you the basics. All right, so part one is you got to find the people you're going to call, right? You're going to got to find the potential referral sources, the CPAs, financial planners, and mostly the realtors that it is that you want to do business with. So here's what we do. All right, so first of all, I'm not a fan at all of cold calling. I hate it. I really, really hate it. So I was making warm calls. The only way that I can make a call, a warm call rather than a cold call, is to know somebody that I can name drop, that I can use for an introduction, either an introduction that they facilitate or even better, an introduction that I facilitate. So, who do you know, right? That's the first question, is who do you know? What's the name of the people you know already, and how can you daisy chain from them to the people that they know, which are the real estate agents and the CPAs and whoever else it is that you want to interact with. So the question is, who do you know, who knows, who you want to know? Well, you don't know that until you ask them. So step one, identifying these agents and kind of getting that list kind of called down to the ones that you want to call. That comes to building out this database. So I want you to build a baseline database. Make a list of 250 people. Anybody who knows your name, who if you called them, they would know who you were and would answer questions for you. This is going to be friends, family members, business associates. If you can't get to 250 people, try again, because you can get to 250 people. And if you still can't get to 250 people, try again, because you can get to 250 people. If you don't, if you've run through it 2 or 3 times, you've spent a couple of days, a full day on this, and you only have, 180 or 190. The point I'm trying to make here is you really, really want to take this step seriously and not just get like 20 people and then start your phone calls. Really spend some time on this, brainstorm it, figure out how it is that you can build this list out, and then make this next set of phone calls much more productive. All right, so we're going to prioritize that list. People who know you, who you talk to and interact with regularly, those would be your A's. People who probably know you and they know the names, maybe they know the names of your family, they know you that well, those would be the B's. And then people who you might have to remind them who you are, they're kind of the C's. The A's and the B's are the ones we're going to focus on first. All right, call them. All right, before you call them, script it out. I've got scripts for you. Don't think scripting is a dirty word. It's not. You're already scripted. You already say the things repeatedly. If you made 10 phone calls, you're going to say basically the same thing. So you're already scripted. You're just scripted badly. You need to be scripted well. You need to be scripted on purpose. And so that's kind of what I'm going to talk you through here. But what you need is you need a model for making the phone call that makes sure you hit all the hot points, that makes sure you use words that will be impactful, and that makes sure that that you get the best response that you can possibly get. So, all right, so let's start with one of the ones that I've suggested is, first of all, you want to start with, hey, I need your help. Do you have a couple of minutes? Your friends, the people that you know well, will always respond to, I need your help. If I need your help doesn't include, like bring your truck and help me move on the weekend, right? If it's I need your help, do you have a minute or two to answer some questions or something along those lines? They'll help you out. You'll see we'll use this again later in some of the scripting. But in this case, this I need your help is gonna really give you an opportunity to get some information out of them. You want to ask them if they have a few minutes, because this call is going to take 3 or 4 or 5 minutes. It's not going to be something that's going to get knocked off in 30 seconds or so. It's not just who's a realtor, who's a CPA, who's a financial planner, but we're going to use specific scripting. All right. So if they don't have a few minutes, when can I talk to you again? Schedule an appointment right then. Now, when would it be convenient for me to give you a shout? When could we talk for a few minutes? I'm probably going to need, like 5 minutes or so, right? Then they'll give you a new time, and you can call them back then, and then check in with them again. When you call them again, hey, is it still a good time? Should take maybe 5 minutes or so. All right, so the next thing you need is a script that you feel comfortable with. If you're comfortable with naming hypothetical clients that you think are coming, but that you don't actually have yet, you can go that route. You can script it to talk about potential clients that you have coming in. But the idea here is you're saying to the person that you're talking to, the person in your client database, I'm sorry, the person in your source database, you're saying, hey, I need your help. I have somebody that's coming to town, and I realize that I'm not real comfortable with the people that I can refer them to. I don't know the quality people that I thought that I knew. And I trust your judgment. It's really important. You say, I trust your judgment. It's saying that you value them and you value the input that they're going to give you. They're not just going to pull people out of the air. I trust your judgment. And I need to refer this person to a few people, a few professionals who I don't know that many of them. So if you were going to sell your house, what realtor would you use? Who do you know who's a good realtor? Right? Do you know anybody else who's a good realtor? They might have more than one. They might give you more than one. Do you know that person personally? Right? If I called them and I said, hey, Jim gave me your name and telephone number, would they know who you are? Or would I be hitting them out of the blue? Are they a past client? What's your relationship with that realtor? That CPA, that financial planner, that divorce attorney, estate planning attorney. You want to pick things here that are related to sectors you're comfortable in selling into. So Rachel, for instance, might sell really well into attorneys because she's been an attorney. If you're divorced, you might sell well into a divorce attorney because you know the process. If you're realtors are the easy ones, I know how to read a tax return, so I sell fairly well into CPAs. I can talk to them about ROI with financial planners, things along those lines. Pick the things that you're most comfortable with. But here's a few good examples. Do you know a good realtor? Do you know a good CPA? Do you know a good financial planner or divorce attorney? Do you know a good estate planning attorney? Take down the names. You want the names of people that they know well. How well do you know them? You want names that you can call and you can drop your friend's name to kind of lend credibility to the conversation. All right, so the next thing I do is I ask them about their mortgage. I had Rachel and Kelly making these calls, and when you're brand new in the industry, you can have the conversation of, hey, scripting goes something like this. Hey, Jim, I don't know if you know, but I moved into mortgage lending recently, and I started, I have clients that need to be introduced to people, and they're asking me for referrals to real estate agents and CPAs, and one guy asked me for a divorce attorney, and I realized I don't know anybody. And I trust your judgment. Do you know a good real estate agent? Do you know a good financial planner? All right, so you get through that part of the conversation. And you get to the end, and if you're brand new in the industry, you can actually say to them, hey, would it be okay if I asked you about your mortgage? I'm kind of, looking at, kind of cutting my teeth on this, and I'm looking to get as much experience as I can. Could I ask you some questions about yours and kind of talk you through it? We're friends. I'm not gonna try and sell you a mortgage that doesn't make any sense, but I might track it for you and let you know as things progress. Give you the experience that I'm going to give to my other clients. That my clients once they've worked with me and I've got my process in place. Now you can tell from my conversation I haven't done that scripting well enough that my voice doesn't sound like I haven't prepared. You need to prepare that better. We'll talk about the law of the dress rehearsal in a little bit. You should script that out with a script that you feel comfortable with. That's not a script I've used recently. I've used the script of, hey Jim, it's Matt Lee calling. Hey, I had somebody ask me for a new divorce attorney, and the divorce attorney that I was working with got out of the business recently. So I just wanted to ask you, I know I know you got divorced, but who did you use? Did you like them? Were they good? Would you be comfortable referring them to somebody else? Because I'd like to touch base with them and maybe refer some clients to them. So that kind of conversation, that scripting, I got comfortable with it before I made those phone calls. You need to get comfortable with yours, but you get the idea behind it. Anyway, when you get to this ask them about their mortgage part, you might find that you can generate some refi business out of this. There are some people who are still in the fives. There are some people who all of a sudden want cash out. You run them through that analysis of, have you thought about taking money out? Are you paying mortgage insurance? What's your interest rate? Do you have any other debts that you would want to pay off? And take them through. If you plot it out as a set of questions that you have in advance, and if you need those, you can give me a call. We can kind of talk through what those would look like. But if you plot it out as a set of questions you have in advance, then you can now go to what sounds like automated scripting and say, okay, I'm going to read these questions to you. Let me just kind of do a reality check with you. What's the interest rate on your current loan? Do you have mortgage insurance? Okay, the next question I had was, that way they feel like you're cutting your teeth with them because you're brand new in the industry, but you're actually also getting information that may lead to a refi. It might generate some business for you right up front. Okay, then, really important. Important for me, may not be important for you. I have trouble calling people back without permission. If they tell me no, they don't know anybody, then I feel like they've said no, they don't like me. But if I ask this question, would it be okay if I called you again from time to time? Or would it be okay if I called you again in a few months? Now I have permission to call them back. And it shortens the distance between my ears, right? It also gives me permission to call them back and ask them for more information. So when I find people that like to refer, then I can continue going back to that well to get new business. All right, so here's the basics of it, the importance of the scripting. But I want you to call them and go through the whole list, or at least the A's and the B's. Don't go through it and get like 3 names and then start calling real estate agents, because it's really important that we do our research on those real estate agents. And you'll get a whole lot more success if you call these people and you get a boatload of names, then you get energized because you got a boatload of names. Then you do all the research on those names, then you start calling through those, and each phone call you make, you get better because you get more comfortable with your conversation, more comfortable with your style, more comfortable with the responses they're going to give you. So go through this list, your 250 names that you got before, this group of people, 250 names you got before, go through this list and call them all your A's and all your B's. Your C's if you want to, if you don't think you have enough. But you'll have 30 or 40 names of real estate agents and 8 or 10 CPAs. You'll have plenty of people to call, but you got to have a big list, because next step, you're going to see some names repeatedly. Go do your research, find out what kind of business those people are doing, check in with other people, check in with me, maybe I might know them, check in with Luke or Shelley, they might know them. Check in with your title rep. If you've got a title rep you're working with, they might know them. Find out if they're good quality people, and then make your phone calls. All right, so here's another piece. Cut your teeth. The law of the dress rehearsal. If you don't practice, when you perform, it'll look like you haven't practiced. So do some role play, or do it yourself on the telephone a few times. Just get comfortable with it. Get comfortable with the way you're going to say things so that your scripting allows you to stay out of your own way. And then don't call the whales first. You know, if you got a solid in to somebody who you know is a huge producer, because you see them all over the place, like Troy Hansford, or you got a good friend of yours is Hansford's brother-in-law, or Chad Madlam's sister, or something like that. If you found that you've really got somebody who's top tier, don't call them first, because you don't want your first call to the best potential client to be the one that you learn on, right? Call some of the medium tier people. Don't call anybody who's you're not going to do business with, because they're not doing business. Don't call anybody who, those probably won't get referred to you by your friends and family, but you understand. Categorize it out. Look for people who are professionals who've been doing it a shorter period of time. Reach out to them and call some of those medium tier potential clients. All right. So when you get some success in that medium tier, after you've gotten some of the appointments, after you set a bunch of appointments, we'll talk about how to set the appointments in a little bit, second video in the series. But once you've gotten, you've started to make those telephone calls in the second tier, and you've gotten yourself, let's say, plotted out for 3 or 4 weeks, then start calling the top tier people. You'll probably get some no's. They'll be looking for bigger, longer-term relationships, and they'll have longer-term relationships already, but they're worth staying in touch with, and they're worth getting to know, and they're worth continuing to run into intentionally or accidentally, so that you end up being the one they call when anybody else lets them down, or they end up switching to you later because you show that you bring value. And that's really what it's all about, is bringing value. All right, so that's what I got for today. We'll do the next session on how to get that realtor appointment. My success rate on making those phone calls is north of 80%, where I get to make an introduction I get to introduce myself to those realtors, and then actually have an appointment with them. So we'll cover that next time. Thanks.